I'm your girl Nessa Nannies, and you know we back on the real, the ratchet, and the motherfucking reckless. Yo, it is Monday. You know every Monday we make it happen. I'm so excited because I have another motherfucking guest for you, and today's guest is the one and only Amanda from Keep Your Crown Right. What's up?
Peace and blessings. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate the space. Those that are watching us on YouTube, bitch, you get to see Amanda has a beautiful space, and this is just like one of the corners, right?
Yes.
Amanda, just to let the listeners know how we met.
So I am a ceremonial hairstylist.
Yes.
I've been doing hair for 12 years, licensed, and I was doing your prima's hair, right?
Yeah,
So,
girl. Oh, girl, she needed that child. Like my sister let me know. I don't know. I think you met through Jolly, no?
no, I met Jolly. She came with your sister. Yeah. And so then that's how we met.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My sister let me know how nice and like memorable, right, it is. And like curly hair, you yourself have curly hair, right?
I have wavy hair. But my mother and my nieces have curly hair.
Nice. You know, for a second, I had like curly wavy hair. Not curly, just wavy for middle school. And then I burned the shit out of my hair. I think I told you the time I met you. I don't know if I got to tell you. But bitch, my hair never like grew back wavy. So I'm like, is it just gone forever? And my sister's always like, you should just try cutting it by someone that cuts like wavy curly hair. Yeah. But my hair literally grows straight now.
Okay.
It's weird.
Yeah, some people, I had somebody who came in yesterday and they had straight hair when they were younger, and they told a story about them getting a perm, and then she's like, but it always grew back curly. She's like, the first time it didn't take, and then my mother took me back and I got another perm and it kept growing back curly. I was like, I've never heard of that. So,
it's so weird.
But yeah, we change. Our texture changes.
I feel like mine is gone forever, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine. But so my sister always took care of her hair, and that's how she let me know about you. And then we brought my prima, which Lord knows she needed some little spiritual cleanse, because she ratchet, she crazy. And sometimes us crazy girls like, you know, we need some soothing. You said you're gonna be going to Joshua Tree soon, so you always know about peace and silence, girl. But it is a pleasure to meet you, and I think, guys, when I first came here, she has her own spot. Amanda has her own little salon going on, and I immediately, Amanda, felt your vibe. Like I just was so interested in seeing in every corner that you have, because like you said, you feel like you have a lot to do with the space, but already everything that you have in here is so intentional. And I feel like I wasn't a client, but I was here with one of your clients, just getting to see a little bit of who you are. And I think that's what I love the most, that it's so you. Even today, me pull it up, like she really had this all set up for me already, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, of course.
But I was sitting over there and I kind of got to read a little bit about you, and I was just interested because I feel like there's a lot to you. And from us talking the time I met you, I'm like, girl, I want to know it all. And I feel like it's a hustle, girl. It's a hustle. You're hustling, and I bring people here every Monday to let everybody know. So let's just dive into a little bit of that. Like, Amanda, how did this all start for you? And then did you always, like growing up, feel like this is what it was going to be for you?
Thank you for the opportunity.
That was long, sorry.
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm so excited and to share. So I knew I always liked doing hair because I was cutting my hair, and from that little story and article you read, I was cutting my hair in kindergarten and getting in trouble for it. And even through high school, seeing some of my homegirls going to the like after school programs, but I played sports. I didn't have a lot of direction in that time, but I really wanted to do hair. And so after high school, I was like, college really isn't for me. But like, what could I do? And it was just like, I like making people look good. I like, cutting my own hair. So I want to go down that route. So, went to a school where it was mostly like state board. It was a lot of like healing stuff that had to come with it, because it was more along the technical stuff as opposed to like, as far as passing the test, but not really like the connection to people, not really a lot of education on the hair in general, because they didn't cover a lot of the areas that I work in specifically now with hair, which is why I think like that's been the motivation, is to fill in the gaps for the areas that they've left out during cosmetology school. So graduated cosmetology school, passed first time taking the test, theory and practical. And then I started working at like JCPenney salon, because I didn't even know they had a salon. Yeah, no, it wasn't the business. So like it wasn't. So like, you know, they were, it wasn't the business. No, it wasn't. Yeah. So it was it was a space that I needed to go in. So a lot of my motivation comes from my spiritual walk, right? Yes. And seeing like where do I need to be, and knowing that everywhere I'm at is exactly where I'm supposed to be. So what's the message? So I was at the JCPenney salon because I had no education. I sat up in there and just watched everybody. I watched people who were spiritual, quote unquote, be very rude. And so just like learning a lot about life in that time and letting myself work through my fears, which allowed me to get where I'm at here, right? Because there's so much of healing that has to take place in order for you to get to where you want to go. And so I was at that salon. I met somebody there, and they connected me to another salon that they went to next, which was another like corporation. It was like the haircutters, and they started bouncing checks. And it was also in an area that I didn't really feel like, although it was just like a different feel. Like a lot of those people were from like they were like upper middle class people, and so it was just like dealing with a lot of stuff culturally and just like corporation and not wanting to deal with that. So dealing with all of that and the instability in those type of institutions, I was like, I want to not do this. I wanted to go into barbering. And because barbering was like what I wanted to do originally, but my mother was paying for half of my cosmetology class, and so she was like, if I'm gonna pay, I want you to do the whole thing. So there I go, do the whole thing. Not happy.
So supported from the beginning, mom.
Semi-supported because it was still resistant to what I wanted to do. Right? It wasn't still like, oh, this is what you want to do. I'm gonna support you fully and walk this way. Because what do I do now? Like, well, that'll go into the story, right? So ended up at that spot. They were bouncing checks, and I was like, fuck this, I'm quit. I'm already licensed. I could do a crossover to barbering. I'm gonna save my money, watch my nephew $5 an hour, watch him for like half a year, and then with that money, I was like, cool, I found this school that one of my homeboys went to. It was Rostin's out in Moreno Valley. But when I went there, they like don't teach. It was like a flyby class. It was like, we're not really teaching. This is a self-taught school. The main instructor is going to be gone for 80 out of the 200 hours that you need to get yours. And I was like, what the fuck? So again, because I look for the solution, I asked the instructor that day, I didn't want to be disrespectful. I was like, could I come back? Like, I need to think about this. Like, you know, like, and so like I went the next day because I was already licensed. I didn't have to go to theory. I could go like show up whenever I want, because again, it was like you teach yourself. People just went in there just to clock in and clock out. Yeah. Get their hours. But I was truly wanting to learn how to barber. Like I was like, I want to know how to do edge ups. I want to know how to do beards. I want to know how to do
because then people go and then you be fucking them up. And it's like, well, it says you went to fucking Bible school or and it's like, it's a paycheck for a lot of people is what you're saying. Right. But not for you.
Not for me. So I was like, I said, it was just like, this is how spirit leads you. And I feel like that's a lot of the motivation. So I walk in on the teacher giving her theory, and she's like closing it up, and she's just like, and if you're not happy about things, you know, you make the decision to make changes. And I was like, she's fucking right. I'm about to go in her office and ask if I can come back in 2 weeks, not to be disrespectful, but you don't know shit. Because she didn't know shit. She was handing me pamphlets. I'm like, what the fuck? So my fight or flight kicks in. Like, what am I going to do? I just spent, you know, this time watching my nephew, $5 an hour, paid them $2,000 to not teach me shit. All they were going to give me was a razor. I had to buy my own books. I had to buy all my own like stuff again. So it was just like, what do I do? So again, when we do this spiritual work, we're able to get that clarity and be able to trust and move where we're supposed to go. And so I go into her office and say, can I, you know, no disrespect, could I come back in 2 weeks when the other instructor he comes back? And she's like, yes, of course, I totally understand. I don't really know a lot, you know. And I'm like, real fucking shit. So
well, bitch, time is money, baby.
Thank you. So then I step out, and there was a gentleman in there, and I thought because people were just clocking in and clocking out, I thought he was a student, but he had already graduated and already got his license. It was working at the barbershop, like walking distance around the corner of the next plaza. So he's talking to the girl next to me, and mind you, I was working at UPS, and I was there. I was there for 14 years, and that's also how we, you know, move. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But I had just got out of work. I worked the overnight shift so you talk about hustle. Like, like I was working 2 in the morning till like 8. And then I go to work, cut hair from like 10, go to school at that time. I think it was like 10 until 4 or something. So I meet this gentleman. I'm rocking like how I am now with no makeup, just natural, right? And just like, I just came from work. I'm about this business. I don't give a fuck what I look like. I'm gonna come in here. So the girl next to me, he asked asked her, oh, do you want to come see the barbershop I'm at? And she had wedges on. It was real humid. And then she's like, nah, it's kind of hot. And I was like, what's up? My name's Amanda. I'll go. Can I go see your shop? So we go and walk around. There's a beauty supply right there. We meet another guy. He was waiting for it to open, and he went to the school. He's like, yo, that school is shit, huh? Like, nobody's passing. I'm like, fuck, I'm a student. Like, this is very supportive. So I'm like, creator, show me what I'm supposed to be doing. So we walk into the barbershop, and the owner is sitting down at the table, and he has these clippers, the Osters, and the fast feeds, I think they are. And he has all these attachable clipper sets. And I had these clippers, but I never seen one of the clips that he had on. It was a texture one, and I was like, what is that? Because this is what I'm wanting to learn. What are the avenues to learn how to cut?
Girl, this is a whole ass opportunity. It's like pass out no opportunity. I'll go.
Yes, exactly. So I was just like, what clipper is that? He's like, oh, you use this on waves, and when you take, like it'll help knock out the line and this and that. And I was like, fuck.
Oh, we love a man with good waves.
so then my wheels start turning, right? I'm just like, damn, like I never seen this. I've had these clippers. How come I've never seen this? That's already a gem. And then I'm like looking around, and then I see that his license says cosmetology, the owner of the barbershop. You have the same license I already have. Why do I need to go get this owner? So all you need to do to have a barbershop is have licensed barbers in there. So I could hire one barber in here, and then I could put the pole on.
Okay, yes.
Now I own a barbershop.
Now you know that.
Right. But I was just like, I'm already licensed. This school isn't going to teach me shit. So I asked them, I said, could I come in here and sweep and shampoo hair? And he's like, I don't know if I could, if we could pay you. Also, I was the first female coming in there, so they had to clarify it with all the barbers in there.
I love the fucking drive. Like, can I do this? Can I sign myself up for you? I love that.
I'm fucking about it. Because nobody's gonna do it for me, right? Exactly. So I said, look, you don't have to let me know right now. I was like, but I have 5 days to get my money back. I already knew when I was walking out that shop that I was taking my money out. And then he's like, I don't know about not paying you. I said, I was about to pay these people $2,000 to not teach me shit.
Yeah.
I could take all that and buy new clippers. I can come and sweep. I'm already licensed. You don't got to pay me. I just want to learn. And so, sorry about that.
Aesthetic. It is what it is.
So yeah, when I step out, the gentleman who had walked me in, his name was Travis, or Kuda, that's what everybody called him. So like when we walked out, I was like, yo, I'm about to fucking get my money out of that school right now and come work in here. He's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, you want to smoke a blunt? And I was like, yeah. So on the way back, I go and I tell the instructor, I said, I would like to get a refund. And she's like, you know what? It's so crazy because I was supposed to take your money to the bank yesterday, and for some reason I didn't. Here's all your money. I didn't have to go through the process of just
them keeping something.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like you were never here, and gave me all my money back. And so then I ended up going to that barbershop, and I was there for 2 months just watching and learning. And then I was like, there was no empty chairs at the time. Every chair was full. So there was also a lot of things happening in there because I trust spirit. Like there was the gentleman who walked me in. He was going through a lot of stuff in that space. So maybe we can edit out his name, but but he was going through a lot of stuff, and I could see like that his chair was going to open up for me. Like, not that I was asking for it too, but there was a lot of stuff that my intuition told me that. So I started like, I gifted him crystals, and I would gift him stuff, like just because he was going through heavy shit personally, you know what I mean? That was affecting his work at the job. And it was just like, but I didn't think too much in that. I just like, sometimes you foresee stuff and then you just let it go, or you're just like, I don't know what that is. So my 2 months was up, and I was like, I gotta go work at a shop now. So I'm gonna go look for a spot. I love y'all. Thank you so much for teaching me, letting me grow. And I left, and 2 weeks later they called me because that barber left.
No, that gave me chills.
And love to him because he's doing well.
But still, it was like everything happens at such a like what's we always say this. I always say it's like what is yours, and it won't ever pass you. Right. Like what's for you is for you. If you don't mind me asking, Amanda, how long ago was that?
That was
like when that whole bullshit with the school, and then you got that opportunity to be in that barber.
Well, that was the last shop I was at before here. So it was like 5.5 years.
So it was kind of like the big step. It was a big stepping stone for you then.
I was doing all this transitional. I turned 29, and I had just I stopped eating meat. I did a fast at that time. I definitely feel like all of that came in. Went to Sedona. I didn't go to the vortexes, but I did go, and I feel like being in those energies and really asking myself what I was going to pursue. Like, you have to do these deep cleanses before you can elevate to the next level in anything, but especially in business, because money follows after the spirit. that's, you know, like we're spirit first. Money is just an extra in this world, in this realm, you know? So it's like, let me clear out these things. And I was also clearing out, working through, knowing I was going to also be ending a relationship that I was in, you know, 6 years. Before I got this shop, I ended that relationship because I knew it could not go with me in the elevated space I needed to go for my own spiritual balance, you know, and peace. And so a lot of that, that was the shop I was at.
Yeah, so like to not, we'll get right back to that, but just before we move forward, like personally, bitch, like y'all know I'm not really spiritual at all, but I've just met so many spiritual people and I 100% support it. I love it. I think it's a good vibe because I feel like spiritually, I mean, you could go wrong, but if people are in tune with themselves, I kind of trust people like that, you know, like it's more trustworthy people. So just to kind of ask for like the listeners that aren't so or know much about spiritual stuff, like myself, like I'm learning literally by meeting people and meeting people like you. What would you say kind of made you in tune with that? And do you feel like you've always been a spiritual person, but you didn't know it was called spiritual? Like kind of bring me into that, like how that started connecting to your life.
So I mean, I remember being little, like I was middle child, the only one in my family with brown eyes.
That's my sister.
I can't say it was like that's what made it spiritual, because again, I didn't think it was like spirituality, right? Like I just felt like, I remember being young at a party and meeting a little girl, and I was trying to tell everybody like, she's me, she looks just like me, do y'all not see? Like I just remember like that and being like, what the fuck was that, you know? Like and I think it was more like, it wasn't so much spiritual than trying to find love within myself, because I felt like a lot of that wasn't, you know, our parents, they come from different generations, and the way that they love is the way that they were taught, you know. And in our family, we're the first generation to hug, my older sister and myself. You know, it would be awkward with my tia. I'd be like, oh shit, my grandma, like hugs would be like that. Now it's like my little nieces and nephews.
If you don't mind me asking, what is like your background?
Oh, my family's from Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, but we grew up, my mom was born in Texas and my dad was born in East LA. And so my family.
A little blend. I love that.
So my mom grew up in Lawndale. She came when she learned English from Sesame Street, you know, out in Lawndale. And my dad just had a very rough upbringing. Both of them had a lot of different stuff, you know, so as far as communicating, we're second.
You're second?
Yeah, I'm second. My dad was born in East LA.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, so but just still the effects of that and having parents in that. Most of the things that led to what I quote unquote spirituality is just trying to find a centeredness, trying to find a safe space within myself, and trying to give myself grace and love, and how to be able to be a reflection of that, because that's what led me to the work that I do now, is to know that all human beings require love and warmth and nurturing. And so I was just trying to nurture my soul, and that was just like, oh, I can't act like this, or coming upon all this information that was just like, oh, I should, you know, try these different things, and what are the effects? All life is one big experiment. What makes you feel good and what makes you don't feel good, and then that's your decision on what action you want to take to help support it. So
I love that. So that kind of carried on with you. You noticed it as a child, and then when do you feel like you went 100 on it? Like the barber time before you came here?
When I started to do at the barbershop, it showed me so much more than just like the typical salon where it's just like, don't talk about politics, don't talk about spirituality or religion, don't talk about, you know, it's like the client's always right. And in the barbershop, so where I was at, you know, I was in a Black-owned barbershop, and so there's a lot of culture and resources and community in barbershops, because back in the days too, that's where healing happened, you know, within the Black community, or the, you know, native folks from Africa that were either here, traveled here before slavery, or were enslaved people. And so in those spaces, it showed me so much more community, and that there's a collective love, and just like so much wisdom being bestowed. There's so many old arranged, because the oldest barber I was working with was 58.
Nice.
You know, like you're different than my 27 at the time, you know, or 29 at the time. Like it's just all kinds of different wisdom, and then they're older clients, you know. So when I was in that shop, it just allowed me. I started was doing my own healing, and I was introduced and was blessed to participate in Sweat Lodge. So
what is Sweat Lodge?
Native American Sweat Lodge is done in the north. In Mexico, it's Temescal. So it's where we go into a dome that's made of, it can be made of like bricks or like clay, but traditionally in some places it's made with different trees where blankets are put on top, and it's created a dome. And in the center, it depends on who's running the lodge. It's all done in different ways, but we work with the fire in the water. And so what it represents is the womb of the mother. And so you go in there to pray with all your relations and the grandfathers and grandmothers. Those are the rocks. They've been here before us and after. So they come in with the water, and you go in there to pray. You go in there to sweat. You go out there to purify. And I was blessed to be in that space for 3.5 years, where it's sweat once a month. And when you do that kind of work, it's a lot of stuff. Like even from being close to people, you're butt cheek to butt cheek. So if you're hot and you're irritated person and you got someone touching you and you're like, I'm already fucking hot. What? You're there to pray. You got to check yourself. So just a lot of self-checking, a lot of understanding, a lot of like just being blessed with so much guidance that's just like, wow, like this is profound stuff. So it just kept like asking me like, what am I supposed to be doing hair? Like anybody could cut hair, but what am I supposed to be doing that's going to make something feel like I'm impacting people? And so I used to have these clients that would tell me, one client, every time I wash his hair, he'd be like, if I could bottle this feeling up and just buy it and take it home with me, I would, Amanda. And I'm like, oh fuck. So I always kept that in my mind. And it was like, well, what is that? It's the feeling of relaxation. It's the feeling of safety. It's the feeling of connected. Yeah. Just seeing that that's what people needed. And so I started to explore that, and I started to research like, what is this space that we have, that every human has as a head, right? And what does it mean? Like, so I started to do like different massages and trying to incorporate aromatherapy, plant medicine. Like I wanted my space to be so tranquil. In the barbershop, I was all the way to the back on the right, the only seat alone on the right? Which if you're in the shop, you already know like front row is the best seat. Like people think like, yeah, because you're on the show, you're on display, everybody watches you work. People could see me walk by, but they'd be scared, right? And I never pushed anything on them. I would just, your impact just has so much. Like you just do what you do, and you'll see the effects. Like people are drawn to it. Yeah. So I would bring in my crystals. I have my whiteboard. Even if I didn't have crystals, I had a whiteboard that's just like, love is the intellectual decision to care. That's what my uncle taught us. And like, love is, like, I would just say all this stuff, and people would see when they walk by. And I remember, you'd never know how much you impact people. It's just be kind to people and be you, and let that speak to people. So I remember one day I had dropped a penny on the floor, and I had like nails on at the time, or long nails. And I couldn't pick it up, so I was like, I'll pick that up later after this client. He just walked in, and so he was older. He was like 60 or something like that, and maybe not 60. I don't want to put him up there, like 50 something, and he's like, what you guys, you got some money on the floor? And then I was like, oh yeah, I couldn't pick it up. I need to, I'll get it later. And he's like, oh shit, I was about to go home and go throw some coins in the corner. I thought it was like, he thought it was like a spiritual practice. He thought I was doing intentional work with the money. And I started laughing. And I was like, he's like, I got that rock you gave me. I was like, what rock? And he's like, remember that rock you gave me? I gave him a crystal. My homegirl, she gifted me all these different crystals from Africa. She's African, right? And she does hoodoo work and conjure work, and she's like, I want you to hand these to people. So I'll give them out to free to people who I felt like they would help with PTSD and things. He's like, I have it by my bed, and every day I wake up and I touch it, and I just started crying because I'm like, fuck, I'm a part of this person's every day. Like, that's big. So yeah, just like being in those spaces and seeing, and then more people. I was if you ever I don't know if you ever heard of hood herbalism. Berenice Dimas. That's something I highly recommend to any of the listeners and viewers. It's just a reconnection. It's a BIPOC. It's a space for BIPOC only, to be able to, Black, Indigenous people of color, to be able to connect with plant medicine, and a space to, it's like deep healing work. And when we would go to lodge, the same thing. We'd have talking circle, and that's a ceremony that was brought down from Canada, and that's where they got group therapy from, which is very, very healing, because you hear so many people and it's like, it's you're like, fuck, that's me, and some type of thing. And so that's what these spaces are, and they allow you to connect with the plants and connect with yourself and your ancestry. So this isn't necessarily spiritual. This is cultural. These are ways that my ancestors would do things. We walked with the earth. We were one with them. We understood, joy was natural. Anger and all this other stuff wasn't natural. This is the shit that's became normal, right? We just were here walking with the earth, being one with it. And so that's what I was striving to. How could I provide more of this stillness and of this love? And that's where the work came in. And then it just started blowing up from hood herbalism, really, because when I was meeting people like me on my path who had this, it wasn't a foreign language. It was like, oh, and then just being blessed to be able to have opportunities in those spaces. Berenice definitely blessed me with opportunities to hold classes and workshops in her home and also in her platform, on her platforms.
And so, Berenice is someone you met along the journey?
I met along the journey.
I really want to jump into, because I think it's really important that if we try to encourage the listeners and our community and our people that come, because we are minorities, right? But we are the majority.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
we're not seen like capable, or like usually we weren't ever seen like we could, so they keep us where they keep us in the hoods that they keep us. So while I'm trying to encourage my listeners and our people that we can all get it and really be happy within itself while doing what we love and getting that money, that there is challenges that come that we're not even used to. Because just to be honest, I don't know your background, but my ground, I don't come from people with money. Like we don't know people, like we're all trying to get it. We're already doing things out of the norm, right? Like we're already just following what we love and trying to make it like our life forever. But for the listeners, I think that it's really important to remember that at the end of the day, like even though we love what we do, we kind of got to move smart, because like people that come from money, like white people, they're taught this shit like from the beginning. Like, oh, you like they see any little motherfucking interest in their kids, they like perfect it and try to make it into money, and they know and we don't. And just to keep it real, we literally had this conversation the other day, like taxes, just being a grown-up, like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when I still sign these W-2 forms, you know what I'm saying? So what would you say kind of was like, okay, because I'm sure when we have a passion, we just jump in without even thinking twice. We're like, I'm gonna get my own spot. I told you, like, I want to get my place, but bitch, I don't even think about credit. Like, I gotta have some good credit for somebody to even want to give me a spot.
You just have to have it down. Well, I would say if you're young, don't go and open all kinds of things, and be mindful, because I've been there. I paid off all my credit, and then I got into some stuff outside of myself and ended up with like $8,000 in debt, which doesn't seem like a lot to people, but still, it's like
that's a
those
lot.
are bills
that's
you
what
still gotta do,
yeah.
right? And so like,
so yeah, just a transition from you, like where you're at now. How did that all kick in for you? And like when did the business side like start waking you up a bit?
Well, I was working at this job. I was working at UPS, so I found a job that was like the offering of my sleeping time. I was working a side job while I did this. I was working, so I was working at UPS, and I get up at 1 a.m, start work at 2 or 3 a.m, and work till 8, and then I go to the barbershop from 10 to whatever time. Then I ended up like doing all those. I was doing weekends, just trying to find where the middle ground was. Where can you get it in? Where can your excitement? That's why you find things not about the money, it's about the passion. Because when you have the passion and you have the creativity, the money follows. It's like, I'll go and do all this stuff. I'll go do all this stuff. Let me press start on this. So it was like, I'm going to.
Thank you.
Sorry, you're welcome. I was working at the barbershop, and it was just like, okay, I still need different type of money. Like I need more money, because you're right. Like my father owns a business, but he didn't teach me anything about that, because my father was just a provider, so he didn't have time to teach. It was like, I work all day.
Yeah, like
I get up at 4 a.m. I get up at 4 a.m. I come home at 7 p.m. And then I have something to eat. I'll sit in my chair and go to sleep. So that stuff wasn't taught. You know what I mean? And also, like, there was a lot of fear of, why would you leave this? Because I left during the second shutdown of the pandemic of my job of 14 years that had free benefits, that had, free top of the line benefits. And there's a lot of stuff. This comes down to spiritual practice. It comes down to mental work, because it's like, it's not just spiritual, it's also the way our minds work. There's a lot of conscious, subconscious things that require, and it also comes down to vibrational frequency, the things you believe and how you speak it into your life. That words are spelled. These are also things that are throughout history, and so it's alignment, and it's, the finances come in. So I'll get into that. So, I made the decision, my spirit, I was going through so much at the warehouse that I felt like my spirit was dying. I was getting like shakes. I would go in there and I'm like, why the fuck am I here at 3 a.m. for somebody else? Why am I here for somebody else? Why am I here? And I'm like, this can open up space for somebody else. And it was a lot of fear. It was so much fear. Like, you have free benefits, your union, you have job security. It's a pandemic. You're going to leave your job? And I was like, I can make more money doing hair. I can make more money in a day than I've ever made in a week here. And people I won't just be a number once I'm gone. You think anybody give a fuck once I left? Nobody give a shit. And it was just like, what?
I think that's what the pandemic showed a lot of people where we worked at. They don't give a fuck about us.
Yeah.
They said, we can't give you money, but you can't come to work tomorrow.
Yeah. Or we're going to give you twice as much work and not enough pay. And that was like, I was doing my researches about hair. I was doing my research on hair. That's a leading thing for our community is stress. More work, not enough pay. So I didn't know. I didn't have a plan, but I had a trust. I had my spirit. It was just like, do you believe? And I remember later reading something, which I'll talk about what happened in the pandemic, which again came down to faith. It's like, there was a saying, I think it's in the Bible. See, because we also grew up Catholic, and then I'm like, okay, there's certain things I don't fuck with in this area. Sorry to offend anybody, but there's a lot deeper stuff, and we just seen what comes from that. But so I still can take the learnings of the things that are of, the vibration. So there's a quote in there. There's a scripture in there. It says like, are you preparing for your blessings? You're preparing for your downfall type deal. So it's just like, that's the vibrational frequency. I was like, I believe I can do this. I can open a shop. So I got this shop. Also Nipsey Hussle, listening to a lot of Nip and being like, fuck yeah, like bigger than life. Bigger than life. I can't say. Yeah, just like all this
she's
stuff.
Singing too. Yeah, I can't wait
to hear that. This is my moment, right? Like I got to own it, because it's a victory. Like, so I'm believing that, knowing that. And when Nip passed, I got my keys the next day. Like, it was just, it's a lot of spiritual stuff. Like I'm saying, doing the clearing, trusting yourself. And then that's where it's just like everything in this shop that I have, I didn't have a loan for it. I got everything at the thrift shop and OfferUp. A lot of the stuff came from my own house. You know what I mean? That's why it's empty. All there is a shelf, my barber chairs that I got through OfferUp. The only thing new in here is a water dispenser. You don't have to have money to make something. You're the money. You're the vibration. You make anything feel good. And that's what I moved with. And then I was just like, it also took me a long time to believe what I deserved. I was stopping my own blessings. Before, I would charge $20 for a haircut. My shears cost $1,000. Pay $70 a month for them. My haircuts now are $165 for long haircuts. But I didn't find value in myself. Our community has to find value. We're important. Fuck what they say. We can do anything. We have to trust. We have to do the healing. We have to know we can. And then it became into finances. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna, as long as my bills are paid, I don't care. Because I still live with my parents rent free. That is my blessing. It was between getting a house or getting this. And I was like, I have to get this. This is my foundation. And it was like, I know I live a different lifestyle than my family. I know, we don't have the same way, but I was just like, I do receive that blessing. And like, even if my parents can't give me their approval because they don't have the words to say, I'm proud of you. They don't know how, so it's just like, that's where it comes in here. And it was just like, okay, so like, make that offering. Like, so I still live. I'm barely getting out of paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, but I also feel like that's really, we need to normalize that, just because if some of us, it is a privilege. I still live at home. Yeah. And if some of us, I feel like back in the day it was like, oh, te tienes que get a job, benefits, casarte, move out, have your own place. But what, to struggle? Yeah. To struggle financially, to struggle with the partner that you fucking probably regret having kids with, bro. Like, I feel like we need to normalize that if we have that opportunity to still live at home, take advantage of that while we get on our feet. That way when we move out, we are comfortable, we are happy, we are blessed, we aren't stressed. So shout out to you for it. I love always saying, I still live with my mama, and my mom will always probably be like, you could stay as long as you need to. So
and that's my parents too. Like my dad can't, certain things, it took a long time because we have very different way of speaking. It wasn't until just a few months ago when I was asking him about spreadsheets to try to keep my books, to help me have like my receipts. I got blessed with an accountant who I was like, okay, I don't know about this money. Like, how can I find help? Because that was my biggest thing. Because it's just like they didn't teach us. I know how to make money, and I know how to spend money. But I know how to save it. I don't know how to invest it. I know how to keep books. So I had to go and ask somebody. I just kept putting out in spirit, and I got blessed with an accountant who does charge a certain rate, but they blessed me. They're like, you're just starting off, so I'm going to charge you this rate. and they help me in that way. And today, like I told you, I was supposed to have my quarterly taxes today, and I forgot. So I'm still fucking learning, you know,
Every
keeping
day.
books. But I got like, now I'm learning about invoices. Now I'm learning, you know, how to do through emails, and like I'm my own secretary, you know, I'm my own booking, you know, app. So I'm still doing it old school, and I'm learning like, okay, now I take card. Now maybe I need to get a booking application, you know, so they can book it and they could just make it easier. So, but a lot of it came from like, move with what you have and trust in what you're moving with. Everything else will follow. It has to. It's just law. It's just natural law. It's just what it is. And so like, I feel like in these next few years, I'm really going to be blessed financially. And I receive that, you know, because it's just like the foundation is set, you know, right here is set, and the money and all that, any opportunity or anything I have a question at, it appears, because I work on being so vibrationally aligned. It's like, wow. All you say is wow all the time. Like, I just thought about that, and now I got blessed with a fucking accountant. Or like, now I want to do this, and you know, this person arrives, and it's just like, you do good and good comes to you and it follows. So that's what I've been moving with.
I love that, Amanda. And just like you're so in tune with yourself and the whole spiritual, because I'm just like thinking, you know, when growing a business or when wanting to grow a business, because I love that everyone that I bring on, it's a passion. So everybody always moves so positive, right? Mm-hmm. So we have people like creators, right? Yeah. Like I call it creators, that we move in a spot, but there's always those worries. There's always those doubts. Mm-hmm. There's always those negative thoughts, those negative circles, your environment. Like, what would be your tip and advice for the listeners that have to deal with that shit on the daily and probably even just heard the word spiritual today?
Get out of the environment.
Yeah.
And the environment is you. Mm-hmm. You're in your own space, and we have to claim our safety in our space. Negativity still comes in. Negative thoughts come in and take over, and they work. And those, to me, I believe, are entities. Those are not my truth. You got to get the fuck out of here. I just made a post like, I rebuke all lower vibrations and metote, right? The chatter in our mind that's like, who the fuck do you think you are to do this, right? Like, well, I'm me. I'm the creator just wearing a shell. What the fuck? I have all the power to do this. Let me receive that. That's what you have to trust. You know, nobody's right there. My parents, like I said, I love my parents because their blessing is letting me stay with them. That is a blessing. But my parents only came to my shop one time to help me bring a chair, and the first thing they did was say that my door needed to get a new door. My parents haven't came back. My dad let me cut his hair one time in the pandemic. You know, but it's how do you work emotionally? Are you reliant upon that? Or are you going to be reliant upon yourself? Do you trust yourself? If people are not supporting you, take a look at that and be like, this stuff. And that's where the spiritual stuff comes in, because it's not even just spiritual, okay? Like, it's on a physical. And when you're in tune to yourself, you can feel it in your cells when something is wrong, when something is off. In my last relationship, that taught me, I was in there for 6 years. It taught me everything, because I almost felt like I was losing my mind. And I said that I need to get out of this because I'm losing my mind, because it took me so out of my peace. And you don't know what peace feels like unless you're in yourself, those moments of stillness, you know? And so I had to know what that was like in order to feel peace. Like, wow, oh, this feels good. Because if you didn't grow up in a home with that, or you didn't grow up with something that feels like, oh, I feel safe, how would you know how to identify it? Mm-hmm. And so those thoughts and those things still come in every day. You know, like the pandemic came and I had to close my shop. Shops got closed down. I'm working this warehouse, and I was like, fuck this warehouse. I just did that the whole time. Because before the pandemic, I was going to quit. I'm like, 2 months, I'm going to quit. I kept telling her. My manager was just like, Amanda, when are you going to quit? Because you keep saying that. And I was like, look, man, don't take it personally. Write me up if you need to write me up. I'm not tripping. Just don't take it personal. I need to write it. Because I was union, I was calling off like 4 days a week and only going in one day and coming doing hair most of the time. And just seeing when I put all that to there, it's just trusting. It's like, oh, that's the experiment. Oh, I'm doing this. This feels good. And now I see it accelerating. Oh shit, but I still got to go back to this life. So when the pandemic happened, I closed my shop and I just did warehouse work. And again, my sales went erratic. They went uneasy, and it was like, this can't be my life. I can't do this. I can't do this every day. I have so much more to offer. Like, blessings to those people, because that job also is a good job for people who enjoy that type of work, because I don't downplay and talk down about anybody. I think it's all honorable, but it was not for my spirit. I knew I needed to do more. So when I closed down, it was just like, you have to keep saying the good. You have to keep claiming it. You got to claim what it is. I was like, nope. When I open my shop, so many people are going to just come to me. They're just going to be like from all over. And I wrote it down. You know, you write these down from all over. People are going to come because the medicine is going to speak, because this is going to be. And that's what happened. Like, I closed down and I made it. And then when I didn't know what I was going to do it, I applied for a grant. My accountant, you see, because it came to me, he applied for my fucking grants for me, and I got grants that helped me pay the rent, helped me pay for my legal shit with my name, helped me do my trademark, helped me do all this shit. It was just, Spirit just kept blessing me. Just keep going. You know what I mean? And I still have a little bit, I'm still moving in that little bit of fear, because I got blessed with another grant for $5,000, but I've been holding on it. And I've been supposed to get a barber chair, but the barber chair is $3,000. And then I want to get some new lights, you know, and I want to get a steamer for the hair, and that's $3,000. But I'm like, oh, I only have like $5,000 and some change. Have I been able to make the money yet? But I got to tell myself, yes, you have. And you know you're going to be good. Spend that money. Don't hold on to that money. That's lack mentality. Yeah, but not only that, it's because it's fear. It's because that's what they tell us. Hold the money. Save the money. Save it for a rainy day. And it's just like, no, go with the faith. You know, because even when I got that grant, I wasn't going to pay the rent. I had got COVID, and I stayed in this shop. Again, my investments blessed me, because some people couldn't afford to go stay in a hotel when they got COVID and they had family. Yeah. Right. Me and my partner both got it, and we stayed in our shop. We stayed in my shop 14 days, made it a whole little house, put a kitchen. Right. But so I got that grant, but I didn't know. I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm going to have the money to pay the rent. I don't know if I'm going to have the money to pay the rent for this spot. And then I got word that I got the grant, but it was just like, fuck, am I going to get it before the 1st? Am I going to get it before the 1st? And even though it's just like, yeah, they had all these like, you know, things to help out people during COVID, but it was still like, oh, this is just a fear coming up. Are you going to prepare for your blessings? Are you going to prepare for your, you know, your downfalls? And I was just like, my money's coming in. My money's going to come in before. I don't got to worry about anything. Don't hold on to this money. Go eat out. Mm-hmm. This money's coming in. Go eat out. So I ate out, because, you know, I won't spend money on shit. I'd rather spend money on organic food. You know what I mean? So it's just like, go spend and eat good. And the money's coming in. Next 2 days, money came in. It's vibration. It's like, what do you believe in? What do you believe in? Yeah. Like, you know, like, who do you believe in? Do you believe? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in the power that's within you? Like, everything else in this world is going to tell you no, especially in our communities. Mm-hmm. You know, but you look at the miraculous things that the people in our communities did based upon the knowingness within themselves. We can all be great. Nobody's any different than me. Mm-hmm. Whatever's in you, whatever feels good, that's what it is, you know, and trust that, and then allow that to go. If you're not doing no bad, it's always going to come back good to you. It just flows.
I'm a firm believer in that a lot of people always fear literally what you said, like, well, everybody cuts hair. What can I do different? What makes my experience, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I fear, like, I believe that a lot of people fear there's already somebody doing this. And it's like, I think it's really important what you say. And I feel like what you said is good. Like, if you're good, nothing bad will go wrong. If you move your way, no one got it like you got it. There is no other Amanda. Yeah. There is no other Nessa. Right. Somebody may got the hair color as you. Somebody might got the pink hair I got, but nobody is me, and nobody can do it like me, and nobody can do it like you. And I think for the listeners, like, whatever you want to do, remember at the end of the day that there is no one like you, and if you hold on to that passion, the world will never get to experience who you are or get the gift that you have. Right. So I really love it, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and you're right. I want to tap on that. And also, it's the ego. When you think, oh, somebody's already doing it, there becomes like a threat, and again, a lack mentality. I say, if somebody's doing it and you like what they're doing, why not be friends with them and learn something and build with them? And then if they're not like on that vibration, you'll learn that too, but you'll find the people. Because I remember I told you, I was just like, I want to learn more people who are doing this. I wanted to connect with other people, so I started the podcast that I have, Keep It Crown Right podcast. Find out on keepitcrownright.com. And then I found my homegirl, Nicole Lee. She has a book, Healing Cosmetologist. And then I've never met her in person, but we have such a deep ass connection. And it was just like, this person's doing what I'm doing. How can we build? And what do I know that she doesn't know? And what do they know that I don't know? Again, that, like, even in cultura places, right? Like, there's ego, there's a lot of, and we just talked about that from the retreat I came back from. They're like, if we let go of this, you know, our communities can be so strong. So it's like, if somebody's doing something, I'm going to share this with you. If people are like, oh, I don't know anybody who does this like you do it, Amanda. I'm like, there are people who want to do it. They can never, like you said, we all have our own sazon. The creator didn't make us the same, you know? It's just like, but share that, because there's so many people who aren't doing it. So just share it.
I also feel, just to top off of that, what you're saying, I feel like people always fear that. And I feel like for those people, it's like, that's why things won't grow and it'll go good for them and it won't last long, because people sometimes want to be stingy because they feel someone's gonna take what they have. No one's gonna take what you have. You got what you got, and no one gonna do it like that. So share with your people, your community. Collabs, like I'm so big on collabs. Like, why can we not? Well, there's so much room for us, but because everybody's trying to fight down here, none of us is motherfucking making it. It's a few of us, right? So it's like collab and share the intelligence, share the knowledge, the education, like the beauty, you know?
But that comes with healing, right? Because I can even say with myself too. In the beginning, when you feel like you've been abandoned or you feel like things always been taken,
bad for you,
you know, like it can be difficult to get out of that, to trust people. Because even when I first started, there were some folks in like the spiritual community, right? And I'm sharing all this stuff about hair, which was very, very like, you know, my little baby. And I'm always down to collab, but what happened was they had this event and they were like ceremonial hair cutting or like spiritual haircuts and all that, and I was like, what? Like, they didn't even invite me. Like, they told their homegirl about what I did, and then their homegirl was now filling in for the spot that I was like, this is what I'm doing. That felt like you took. And so but it's not mine. But in that time, because I was like, oh, that shit made me upset, because it was like these people were lurking, or this particular person was like lurking on my page, always look at all my stuff but never like it, and then did write like, I like, this is a lower vibrational frequency that I was at, right? Feeling like, oh, they're like, you didn't acknowledge me. But that also happens in our community. You know how many times people take your idea, do all this shit, and take your name, and like all it comes down, because even like when I said who I learned from, Berenice, right? Like, I'm always going to acknowledge her. I'm always going to acknowledge Robert John. I'm always going to acknowledge Daisy October. I'm always going to acknowledge the people that allowed me, of it, right? Maestra Sisi. I'm going to acknowledge the people that will help me evolve. That's how you keep their medicine good. That's how you keep them alive. That's the honor part. So I made a track about it. Not everyone's supposed to be part of the mission. Can't get caught up when they don't give me my proper recognition. Instead, I'd rather be like Andre and just get up in the kitchen, because I'd rather be the breaker and the maker of the piece of my pie. So on my piece, I rely solely on I, knowing what I'm putting out is bound to multiply, coming back in threefold. So I'm checking how I'm treating other people. It's beautiful to be the light to give and receive. I'm laying in a bed of roses because I planted my seeds, and now I'm moving up the scale to a higher degree. But if somebody get to tripping, then you better believe, if it's getting too acidic, then I got to get from near it, because I'm protecting my spirit and my aura dripping in Florida water, burning copal. But, you know, so just like...
We on a run around to the motherfucking regulars. We got Amanda in the motherfucking building with Keep Your Crown Right and keep everything right. Amanda keeping everything right. I love it, bitch.
It's a journey.
I fucking love it. I love you. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
You are amazing.
Thank you.
Damn, bitch, you are natural.
Thank you.
I love everything that you do. I love how you flow. I thank you for making this podcast so bomb so far.
Yes.
I love the conversation, and I really pray and hope that this helps our listeners and our people. I think you are so special.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I fucking love it.
Thank you.
There is no one like you, and I think that's really important to always push. I think that is one of my things. Like, people need to hear this. People need to hear this, you know,
and they need to hear about the shadows too. Because then it's just like
the ugly shit get ugly.
And our own minds do it. So don't beat yourself up and thinking I've been thinking in the lower. Just how can I do better? How can I do better than me? I even have a song, so like, you know, they say flex, and it's just like, ooh, flexing on them, flex on them. I'm flexing on them, and it's just like, I seen a meme that said my biggest flex was flexing on the old me, and that's what it should be. You're always going to want to do better. And you're going to be fine. And everybody, you don't have to save them, because if you keep living in your way, in a good way, they will recognize it and come and gravitate, and ask you, what are you doing? You feel like this, because you feel like sunshine when you walk in places. Like, for real.
What you are, well, exactly. How you act is how you feel. When people treat me like shit, I'm like, damn, I go home and I pray for that bitch. Because it's like, at the end of the day, like, nobody just acts out just be. I learned that. Like, it was so funny. I was working with kids for a few years, and I love working with kids. I love kids. They don't know that's fuck. I don't know if I would have my own, but I love kids. I just love them. But I remember one shout out. Her name is, oh my god, I forgot her name. Is it Lisette? Liz. We're going to call her Liz. Okay, so Liz, when it was just regular shit that we learned with the kids, and it's like Q-tip, quit taking it personal. And it's like, I'll never forget that. I don't know what she was like talking about. I don't remember. But quit taking it personal. It's not about you. When somebody does something, it's not about you. You know, the way I move, the way they move, it's everybody moves in the way that they feel or what they are. Don't take nothing personal. If somebody makes a comment or if somebody cancels on me or, you know, because I like to have shit good. So if things, I never take it personal. They're going through something they can't right now. They'll say whatever they gotta say. Some people will be honest, some people will lie as fuck. But at the end of the day, never take anything personal. You know, like you said, it's like how we are, how we move. If we walk in and we feel like sunshine and you see sunshine, it's because I am sunshine. You know, so you gotta feel it too. That's a big deal. Like feel it, to believe it and be it. But there was something you said about acknowledgement. I feel like people sometimes worry too much about that. Like, oh, getting the recognition, the acknowledgement. It makes me think about Mulatto with the BET Awards because she didn't win an award and she kind of brought it up. But it's just like, I totally forgot about that because I'm not really into, like, I love music. I love all these artists, the women. But she is a great artist, for example. So Sidetrack, she is a great artist. And I think like her mom, like she posted that her mom sent her a message like, you know, you're at the BET Awards, bro. We used to watch the BET Awards from the couch, but you were there. No award, nothing will ever determine your worth. What is an award that the people give? Like, who that come from? You know, like, at the end of the day, they're nice. Awards, pretty things, material things are cute. They're nice, but that don't determine no motherfucking worth, you know? So I think just back to what you're saying, like, people don't gotta validate you. You don't gotta say, you met me there, you learned it through me. I know that. You know that. And that's it. We both know that.
Exactly.
The whole world don't gotta know that. You know? Because people sometimes wait on validation. And it don't mean shit sometimes.
No, it don't. It don't.
Yes. Cheers. What you got? Your water? Cheers.
Yes, ometeo. Yeah. But a book that would help was the four agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz.
Everybody talks about that, but
that one
I hate reading, but I know there's a lot of audio now, so I got to get into that.
Yeah, that one's actually a really quick read. It's really good. And it's 4 basic things. Don't sin against yourself, which is basically going against yourself and speaking bad or negative. Don't take anything personally. Never make assumptions and always do your best. Those are the 4 agreements. Just broken down, you know. So
about it, just to tie it back, to wrap things up, let's talk about Keep Your Crown Right. Where we at right now. Talk a little bit about the experience so our listeners could just be like, pull up on you. Let them know what it is when they come to Keep Your Crown Right.
So Keep Your Crown Right is a community space and salon out in San Bernardino, California. We're on Serrano land. This space is a space that you can come and connect with yourself, right? We work with water when we shampoo our hair. This is a sacred space, your head, okay? So your crown, why I say keep your crown right. When you think about it, your head, it stores all your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories. Scientifically, your hair is an extension of your nervous system. It sends signals to your limbic system, your neocortex, the parts of the brain that are associated with those thoughts, emotions, and memories. And when you think about it, not a lot of people touch your head, right? Like, you shampoo your own hair, and usually it's really quick, or it might be like, fuck, I gotta straighten this, or I gotta curl this, or I gotta do this, and I gotta, you know. But it's not done with a lot of intention. And also, if it's not you touching your hair, it's your stylist or barber, it's your partner, your parents, if it was done in a loving way, and children when you pick them up, right? And so they might play with your hair, I love your hair, you know, but not a lot of thought goes into this space. And it's just like, this head, this brain, this space does all your thinking for you. It helps you move through your emotions. It helps you categorize and get those finances and all that stuff in order. It helps you do so much. How come we don't show it enough love? And so when you come here, it's a way for you, I call like the whole shop the womb, but really the womb is the water room, because you check into self, you check out to check in. That's what I always say. Check out from the world. And so I want this to be the time. A lot of people are like, I have jobs, I don't have this, I don't have time to do this, but they always make time to do their hair. So if we can tie it in, and also there's culturally, if you look around the world, all the connections to hair, growing it long or shaving it off, you know, like there's a lot of healing and trauma around it, because hair was the first thing that was taken during slavery. Hair was the first thing taken during colonization. Hair was the first thing taken during the Holocaust. Like, all of these very traumatic things were taken, because once they took the hair, it took your power. That's why, like, if you got an inch cut out, you ask for an inch and they cut 6 inches and you feel like, what the fuck? It's because you just got taken, you know, you just got taken. And just like, you know, all of that stuff, like cultural genocide through hair. And so a lot of it is for people to connect and be like, look at themselves. So we do mirror work here. When you're in front of the mirror, you can't lie when you're looking at yourself.
Period.
You know, so people are coming here. I'll do regular haircuts. I was in that barbershop for 4.5 years. So really just giving the full experience of aromatherapy, offering different scalp massages and doing ceremonies. So when people come to me, are connected, the spiritual aspect of like Mexica traditions and walking that road, praying that I can walk into curanderismo and to work into that healing with the plants and prayer. And so when folks come to me, we use the time as a way to honor the physical body. So I work on the upper back, the head, the face, the shoulder, and the neck, and relax that. So you can just like, we store so much tension. That's why people lose hair, why they get migraine headaches, why they have locked jaw, tendonitis. Our shoulders are all tight. It's because we're always in fight or flight. And so I want just people to have a moment. They deserve a moment of stillness. And I don't like to say our people have to work hard, but they work for their money, and they deserve when they spend their money to get a haircut that they feel not just physically beautiful, but spiritually they feel just like, oh, something just feels so refreshed, like a baptism basically, if you're going on that way. But it's a limpia, it's a cleansing. So we can release through our hair. That's why you see people who cut all their hair off sometimes, right? They went through something, shaved all their hair. I'm going through this, you know. And so we do it in a way of intention setting so that these traditions can be passed down to our children for the next generation. So when you're combing your children's hair, you're putting a prayer on them. There's a lot that we can do with hair. So my goals are like what I offer now. I do pop-ups, so I'm going to be doing a tour next year sometime, going to Oakland, San Diego. I have a lot of people coming out from San Diego, to Los Angeles, and just finding spaces that I can go and help support and to share this. So I also teach a workshop on plant medicine and how we can create little baths for our crown, and to work with it like as spells in a spiritual way, as well as what the benefits are with the plant. And so just seeing where that takes me, educating and just growing in my own healing to just be the clearest conduit and just see where it goes. Honestly, I didn't have a plan to have a shop. It was just like, oh, people need more quiet, and I love the barbershop, but we have different medicines. Somebody's throwing the dominoes down, like, bam, and it's an elder. It's like 60 something. That's his medicine. That makes him feel alive. Who am I to say, shh, we're doing a ceremony over here? So I needed to open a space. I don't know where spirit's going to be leading me, you know, like this shop is for sale. I'm going through spirit, this shop. Again, there's a lot of things that come up. They don't fix some of the stuff in here. These are things that happen to entrepreneurs, right? I'm doing good medicine, but this owner ain't doing good medicine. Where it's going to lead me, I don't know. But I know there's a knowingness in here. So I just look out for the next opportunity, the next blessing. So I don't know. I might be on, I don't know. I might be on film. I might be doing all kinds of shit, you know? So
I feel that.
I don't know. I just know it's going good and it's going up.
That's what's up, bitch. Yes. Is there something you want to add that you feel you didn't get to add or we didn't get to right before we wrap it up?
Just trust yourself and just offer yourself grace. All the listeners, like, please follow me on Keep Your Crown Right. I'm on IG. I share a lot of different stuff, and I just feel blessing ourselves with more and more love and being kind, and just being kind to other people. It really matters. That's what we need in this world right now. So just please keep trusting. If you have any questions or you want to build, you know, just reach out. You want to know a little bit more, keepyourcrownright.com, and just keep trusting your spirit, keep your vibrations high, and
Amanda, thank you so much. Like I always say this, every guest on here means a lot to me, and I thank God. I am a believer, so I really do thank God that He always just kind of guides me to people, like my gut feeling. You know, if I don't reach out to you, don't take it personally. I literally follow my intuition, and if I want to talk to you, I'm gonna talk to you. If we don't talk now, we might talk later. But again, I am happy that my intuition was so correct about you. I'm happy that you got to be a part of my journey, because this is my own little journey, and I get to look back at this and just be happy that what I'm still putting out is still real ass shit, good ass shit that's gonna help my listeners. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank bitch you, Mama. Like I told everybody, I'll see you at the motherfucking top. Y'all already know what it is. It's your girl motherfucking Nessa Hernandez. You can follow me at The Real Ratchet and Reckless. We are here at least once a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'm on Twitch, bitch. Follow at The Real Ratchet and Reckless. I'm signing the fuck out. Bye. Peace.